on here. Here's Lick of the Day number 155. This is a Nuno Bettencourt-Inspired Pentatonic pick and run. As usual, I'm going to play it once slowly and then break it down. During the breakdown, I'm going to share some practice advice you can apply to this one and pretty much anything else you're practicing. If you want the tabs, you have a link down in the description. I'm going to start here on the 13th fret of the low E string. Alright, so this one is based on a fill that Nuno played on one of the songs of the Three Sides to Every Story album. Great album if you haven't checked it out. I don't remember the song now, but if any one of you recognizes the thing, you can just post it below here in the comments. It's not exactly like that, but it's the initial string skip sequence is based on that lick. It's a very cool one. So that's where the idea comes from, and then I just added on to it basically. He ends it differently, and so it's basically just the very first idea that I borrowed. With that said though, we're going to use two different pentatonic shapes. So we have this one. We start on the flat 7 of the key. So we got 13, 15, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15. And then the next shape is going to be what I call the day 1 pentatonic shape, because it's usually the one that we tend to learn first as guitar players. So that's, if you don't know that one, you really should know that one. But just in case, we got 18, 15, 18, 15, 17, 15 on G, D, and A, and then 18, 15. So we start with that string skip pattern that I talked about earlier in the lower shape here. So it just goes like this. That's it basically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I do here is I play 13, 15 on the low E string, and then I go up to the D string, so we skip the A string, and we go 12, 15, 12, and then we add 15 on the A string. So we got a 6-note pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we restart the whole thing here on the 13th fret of the A string. Go up. So basically it's going to be the same thing. And that's a good thing to just start practicing. So maybe even go that far. Just move that around chromatically, or take it through all the different scale shapes. Another great way to internalize this sequence. But we're going to continue on here. So we go. So same thing again, just making sure that our fingers are following the actual shape. And then we do that again. And now, this far it's pretty much the same, but since we don't have a higher string than the E string, we cannot continue in this shape. So from here, from that note, I'm gonna stretch a bit and basically just descend this whole shape. So, and when you do this, it all turns out to work really well with 6 notes per beat throughout. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So works out really well rhythmically, so it's fairly easy to practice. So besides turning it into, smaller shapes that you can just move around chromatically, another thing you can do is take the whole lick and then just work with accents. So you accent the first 16th note triplet, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 throughout the whole thing. Then you accent the second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. And while doing this, make sure that your foot is always on 1. So even though you're accenting 2, you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't want to let your foot drift to whatever note you're accenting, because this really helps your timing, just keeping your foot on the downbeat the whole time. Very important. And it's not that hard to do if you just can be a bit patient. And I wouldn't use a metronome initially. I would just count it out, because if you count it out, you can basically take the tempo down ridiculously slow, because whatever tempo you're counting at, that's your 16-note triplets. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you know, that tempo might be like 15 or 20 BPMs, right? But putting that on a metronome, if you have a metronome that goes that low, that will just be very annoying trying to line that up. So don't worry about the overall tempo in terms of when you do this and count, maybe your tempo will go up and down a little bit. Doesn't really matter, because what we're interested in here is making sure that the subdivision, so how you subdivide that beat, and in this case we subdivide it by using 6 notes per beat or click. So that feeling, you're going to get that regardless if you speed up or slow down a bit. So you just want to keep it as even as you can, but don't worry if you slide around a little bit. And if you're really a stickler for this stuff, you can basically try it with a metronome. Just put the metronome at a quite a, you know, higher tempo, maybe around this tempo, and then you let that be the 16th note triplet. So you still count, and you still have to manually put your foot down on 1, but you have that click to keep you very much in time. So that's another thing you can try. But whatever way you try, really make sure that you count and make sure that your foot is always on the 1. So that's going to help your technique more than anything. So putting this into practice, if you do that right now, just learn the lick and then work on it here first. So basically you want to go through it 6 times, if you can do that, right? Because it's kind of tricky if you haven't done it before. So you want to go once, accenting every 1, once every second note of each beat, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then if you want to extend that practice, you can basically move the whole thing down to what would be the 2nd fret. And then do the same thing there. So you do 6 times here on that fret. If you manage to do that, you move it up 1 fret, do 6 more times, and so on until you cover the entire fretboard. That would be a really good practice routine for your picking and also for learning this sequence. So experiment with that stuff, and if you have any questions, just post them below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.